Some buildings get demolished, others get bricked up and forgotten. Creswell Asylum was never declared condemned. The state just locked the doors and stopped sending people inside. No records, no graves, no names on file. But last month, someone opened a hatch behind a strip mall and found a tape recorder still running. It was labeled Last Sessions. The voices you're about to hear were never supposed to be heard again. The institution they tried to erase. They say the state shut it down because of a fire. Creswell Institute, founded in 1896, closed in 1984. Official story: electrical fault, fire in the East Wing, staff evacuated, patients transferred, case closed. But when you dig deeper, I mean really deeper, past the municipal records, past the archives that have been scanned and redacted and lost in transition, you find a different story. Or more accurately, no story at all. No relocation reports, no death certificates, no demolition permits, just silence. It's like Creswell was swallowed, and I couldn't let it go. I first heard about Creswell from an anonymous email sent after one of my podcast episodes, the one about the abandoned psychiatric wing in Ontario, where doors were found sealed with melted glass. The email had no subject, no greeting, just a Google Maps pin and 4 words: "They're still down there." The location was a shopping plaza in upstate New York. Nothing strange at first, just concrete, fluorescent lights, a faded donut shop. But the pin was precise, and when I followed it, it didn't lead to any building. It led to the far end of the parking lot, where a few dying trees stood crooked around an old maintenance hatch. No sign, no barrier, no locks, just rusted steel bolted to the cracked asphalt, like a forgotten scar. And I came back that night, alone, flashlight, crowbar, recorder. The hatch groaned but gave in. The air that came out was wrong. It didn't smell like mildew or decay. It smelled like old metal and hospital soap, sterile but ancient. Like a memory had rotted, but the chemicals stayed. The ladder took me down 15 feet. Then the silence began. The corridor was wide enough for gurneys. The walls were tiled, stained brown and gray, some places peeling into flakes. But the strangest thing, there was power. The lights buzzed dimly, flickering in slow rhythms like breathing. I passed signs pointing to the rec room, Ward 3, and hydrotherapy. One door read Quiet Patients, Sublevel A. Its lock had been snapped open, but no one had gone through in decades. Dust lay untouched. Even the spiders had abandoned it. I explored for 2 hours. Most rooms were empty. Old beds, rusted sinks, claw marks on one of the padded cells. One chamber still had restraints hanging from the walls like curtains tied back with belts. I took photos, notes, all of it. But then I found the observation theater. Rows of folding seats all bolted down, facing a large double-sided mirror. A few had recordings scratched into the backs and nail marks. Don't watch her too long. If he turns around, leave. The mirrors remember. Behind the mirror, the control room was lined with old reel-to-reel decks. Most were melted or shattered, but one was still whole, wrapped in linen. Labeled in faded red ink, voices. Last Sessions. I should have left it there. I should have burned the whole place down, but I took it. I took it back upstairs into the night, into the world. And that's when it started. The dreams. The hallway at the foot of my bed that doesn't exist during the day. The whispers coming through my headphones, even when nothing was playing. And the knocking, when I tried to report it. I called the city, the county, the historical society. But no one had ever heard of Creswell Institute. And then I found something worse. On one of the older property records, the building was listed, but it wasn't called Creswell. It was called the New Haven Listening Lab, a Cold War-era black site for acoustic behavior modification. No patient names, just numbers. The fire? Real. But it wasn't started by faulty wires. It was started by the patients. They tried to burn their voices. The tape recorder. They shouldn't have left. Thus, there's something about reel-to-reel machines. The way they spin, the way the tape breathes out stories like it's remembering for you. Old tech doesn't lie, it doesn't filter. It doesn't clean up the madness, it just records it. And this machine, this one had remembered too much. The reel was inside a rusted metal drawer, wrapped in mold-blackened linen like it had been buried. I found it in the basement's observation room, tucked behind a shattered two-way mirror. Dust so thick I could barely see the label. I wiped it off with my sleeve and read the words etched in fading red. Voices, Last sessions. It didn't feel like a file. It felt like a warning. I took it back to the surface. Not for safety, not even curiosity. I took it because something inside me needed to know. Maybe that's what Creswell does. Maybe the moment you enter, it rewires your instincts. Because I knew better, but I pressed play anyway. The tape hissed, old static with the weight of decades behind it. Then came the click, that unmistakable mechanical shift that means this is real. And then I heard it. The first voice, not a scream, not even a whisper, just breathing, steady, wet, and close. Like someone breathing into a mic who doesn't know the mic is on. Then a shuffle. Footsteps chains, and then a voice, female, barely a whisper. He waits when the lights flicker. If I hold my breath, he skips me. Then silence, another click. Next tape, a male voice this time, middle-aged, clearer, almost calm, like someone reciting bedtime instructions. I counted the wires, there are 42. One of them isn't plugged into anything, but it still moves. That's the one that hums when I sleep. The sound warped after that, like something brushed the mic, like static developed fingers. Then the machine itself groaned, not from age, but from resistance, like it didn't want to play what came next. I paused it. I should have stopped altogether. Instead, I took the tape with me to digitize it, clean the audio, analyze the voices. That's when the voices started leaking. Or at first only in my headphones. Little things, background murmurs, reversed syllables. I thought they were embedded in the track, but then I heard them through my phone and my speakers, and once, through my bedroom wall, 3 words. Same ones every time. Play the rest. I checked the original recording again. I used waveform tools, audio isolation. There was no voice saying that on the actual tape, but it kept saying it. Play the rest, so I did, and that's when I heard the voice that wasn't archived. No click this time. No key, just her. A voice too layered to place, female, but also not. It sounded like it was being spoken through water and through teeth. It said, "Your name is already recorded. You are the last story we will need. Don't you remember your final words?" Then the machine stopped. The reel still spun, but the tape was no longer moving. That night I dreamed I was in Creswell again. Only this time I wasn't alone. I stood behind the glass in the observation room, watching a patient strapped to a chair, writhing, sobbing. No face, just a shadow of a person. Behind me, the recorder spun. I turned to stop it, but when I looked back through the glass, I was in the chair, and the shadow was watching me. And I woke up with blood in my ears. I hadn't moved, I hadn't scratched. There was no cut, just a thin red stream from both ears, and on my desk the reel-to-reel sat silent. But the power cord had been pulled from the wall. I tried to destroy it. Hammer, fire. I even drowned it in salt water. It didn't burn, didn't crack, didn't rust. It just sat there. And every time I passed it, I could swear the reels turned. Just once, as if to say, we're not done. The final words of the forgotten. It wasn't until I digitized the entire reel that I noticed something off. The voices weren't labeled in any logical order. They jumped, not just between patients, but between eras. One recording sounded like it was from the 1960s. The next, clear as digital. Too modern, too sharp. It's like the machine was pulling audio from different timelines, or that Creswell never actually stopped recording. And these weren't session notes. These were last words. I isolated 6 segments. I don't know why. Maybe they pulled me in. Maybe I wasn't choosing at all. Here's what they said. Patient number 72. Elise M. voice. Female. Age 20s. Quiet, strained. You can hear the restraint straps creaking in the background. He waits under the bed at 3:13 a.m. If I keep my feet up, he doesn't take toes. But I forgot last night. I woke up shorter. Silence. It hurts to stand now, but I still hear him chewing. Patient number 91. Thomas W. voice. Male, late 40s, calm, rhythmic, like he's repeating something learned. I didn't kill them. The lights told me. The blinking means yes. The buzzing means do it again. They blinked all night, so I didn't stop. Sound, low electric hum, then static. There's another Thomas in the room now. He smiles more. He keeps the knife cleaner. Unknown, labeled only as mouthless voice. Whisper, layered, echoing like it's coming from the walls themselves. We don't speak with mouths anymore. The ducts carry our thoughts. The air remembers better. Sound, something breathing through metal grates. You heard us last night. When your fan turned on by itself. Your patient, near 33. Mabel E. voice. Childlike, but wrong. Too slow, too steady. My mother doesn't visit anymore. They say she never existed, but she visits in mirrors, with her hair all gone. Background, slow tapping sound like fingernails on glass. She knocks 3 times. Then I knock once, then she smiles. Your patient number 108, no name. Just the knock. No speech for the first 30 seconds. Just a slow, deliberate knock. 1, 2, 3. Then breathing. Clothes wet. Then this. You're not here to record. You're here to remember. We were all recorders. Before we were forgotten. Staff recording. Dr. Halverson, Creswell administrator. The only clear staff voice on the reel. Sounds agitated, desperate. This is Dr. Halverson. 4th floor intake. If anyone hears this, don't listen to the patient logs. They're not echoes, they're feeders. Sound, frantic scribbling, drawers slamming. The more you listen, the closer they get. The ducks aren't ducks, they're mouths. I heard my own voice asking questions I never said. I'm not me anymore. Final words whispered, barely audible. I'm someone else's memory now. I stopped listening after that. Not because I wanted to, but because the files vanished. Literally gone from my hard drive. Every waveform, every sample. Replaced by one corrupted file, finalsession.wave. When I tried to open it, my laptop camera flickered on, then off. And I heard a knock at my front door. I didn't answer it, but the knocking didn't stop until morning. That was 3 days ago. Since then, my voice assistant has activated on its own 12 times. Each time it says, "Would you like to continue session?" I've played a lot of tapes, interviewed dozens of patients, covered institutions, hauntings, cold case audio, but nothing has ever spoken back before. Creswell's patients weren't just mad. They weren't hallucinating. They were transmitting. Recording, feeding the archive. And when no one came to visit, when the staff left, when the world moved on, the recordings kept going. Because the building didn't need electricity to remember. It only needed silence. I'm not sure if what I heard were their final words, or the beginning of mine. A loop that shouldn't be. The problem wasn't that the tape kept playing. The problem was that I couldn't stop hearing it, even when it wasn't on. Even with the reel unplugged, locked away, buried under clothing in a storage bin, the voices found new speakers. My microwave whispered. My Bluetooth speaker would wake itself up in the middle of the night and play Breath. One night my fridge hummed in perfect Morse code. You're still here. I tried destroying the tape again. I burned it, it melted. But the melted reel just turned softer, stretchier, like it wanted to keep spinning. I snapped the spools, tossed them into a river. The next morning, they were on my kitchen table, dry intact. That's when I stopped sleeping. But what really broke me was the calendar. I flipped it open one night in a haze, trying to find out what day it was. I hadn't left the house in over a week. When I looked at the date, it was circled in red ink. Playback day. That was the exact same phrase written on a wall deep inside Creswell. In the hallway, I never walked down. The one I only saw in the mirror reflection through the observation glass. I checked my phone, same date. Then my watch, then the old tape machine turned on, by itself. There was no tape inside, but it still played something. Not audio, not voices, not anything I could describe. Just a memory, my memory. Me in the basement hallway. Me walking toward the sublevel door I swore I never touched. And then another me watching, smiling, waiting. That's when I realized this wasn't just a haunting. It was a loop, a self-repeating archive built from memory and sound and attention. The more you listen, the more it remembers you. The more you hear, the more it becomes your voice. I opened the closet where I hid the machine. It was already out, sitting on the desk. Tapes stacked neatly beside it. One was labeled Final Session, in my handwriting. Except I never wrote it. I haven't pressed play yet. I know what happens when I do. I've heard the warnings. I've said them, maybe even before this moment. Maybe in another version of me that's already been recorded. But the reel is turning anyway. Even as I write this, the machine hums. It's not plugged in, and behind me, 3 knocks. The broadcast that still plays. This is the part of the story where I tell you I escaped. Where I smashed the machine, left the house, moved on. But I didn't, because there's no outside anymore, not for me. Not once you've been recorded. And I tried everything, rituals, silence therapy. I even went back to Creswell, or what's left of it. It's not there. The hatch in the parking lot? Gone. Paved over. But the walls are still underground. I can feel them when I sleep. The same breathless, padded rooms. The same metal doors that never close all the way. And the same whisper. We don't forget. We play. The tape labeled Final Session still sits on my desk. I haven't played it, but the transcript is already written. Page by page in my own notebook. It describes what I'm doing now. The sound of my voice. The words I'm choosing. Even the hesitation between sentences. I checked. It matches exactly. Even this part. So maybe this isn't a story at all. Maybe it's just the latest session. A recording that never ends. A loop of someone who thought they were the listener, but turned out to be the next voice on file. At least if you're hearing this, you've already started your session. The tape is already spinning. You're not just watching a video. You're playing back a memory, but it's not yours. Not yet. Don't rewind, don't replay. And whatever you do, don't answer the knock. This is Whispers Between Worlds, where we upload horror daily.